Thanks, Luke. Andre Agassi to serve first ball. Andre Agassi at the bottom of your screen. Jiri Novak. Agassi having never lost a set to Novak. And Patrick, I pose the question to you. What is it about Agassi's game that has allowed him to dominate Novak? You see Agassi, 32 years old, by far the oldest player in the field.
Well, incredibly, Agassi coming into this event, first player over 30. With a chance to win it. If Agassi wins this, becomes #1, he'll be the first player over 30 to do that. Novak 27, he's 6'3", he's a tall guy, he moves very well, he's a counter puncher. The reason why Novak has a lot of trouble against Agassi, Mal, is because his game doesn't really match up well with him. As I said, he's a counter puncher. He likes to target. And Agassi just pounding away from the back of the court is difficult for Novak to handle that.
Agassi holds on to serve, and here Agassi is talking about how special it is to be in Shanghai.
Well, it does feel good. It feels good because this is what I dedicate my life to, and you know, I didn't start off so great this year, and I've had to sort of work double time in my own mind even to compete at this level. This year, with my wrist injury at start, and I just felt way behind the 8 ball, so I sit here pretty proud with how things have gone.
That wrist injury caused him to pull out of the Australian Open, but he did follow it up a few weeks later with a final in San Jose, then winning in Miami. This is the 12th time Andre Agassi has qualified for the year-end championship. 1995, he actually had to withdraw from the event due to injury.
In Madrid, it was just about a month ago, Mal. Novak injured his hamstring during his semifinal match with Fabrice Santoro, which of course he won, and then was able to get through that match, but overnight and after he cooled down, the injury was too much, so he couldn't go in the final against Agassi. The following day, had to pull out.
That giving Agassi his 3rd Tennis Masters Series victory of 2002. But Patrick, I do find it amazing that Jiri Novak winless in terms of tournament wins this year, but the reason he has made it is those 52 match wins.
Well, he's been in 2 finals in Madrid, Vienna. He's been in a whole array of semifinals, including some big tournaments. Now, I mean, the semifinals of the Australian Open we showed, semifinals in Rome where he lost that one to Agassi that Luke mentioned, another semi in Toronto, the Tennis Masters Series event there, including 3 other events. Because he's one of those guys that he's very solid, he's very consistent, but he doesn't have what I call a big game. And so when if he plays against a player that does have a big game that's on, most likely he loses. But if he plays against someone that's a little bit off, they're not quite playing their best, he will take advantage of it.
40-30, game point for Novak. Novak throws in a double fault, back to deuce. Prior to this year, Jiri Novak had never finished inside, or I should say, only one time had finished inside the top 30 in the world.
And you say to yourself, I mean, at 27 years of age, how does something like this happen? And I think it, in some ways, it's inexplicable, because Novak has, as you said, never finished inside the top 30. He's always been around 30 to 50. I think it has a lot to do with the way the tour is set up now. There's so many events week after week. There's a lot of young players now. A lot of young players now that have a lot of talent, a lot of game, but they're inconsistent. So you get someone like Novak, who's been around for a long time. He's learned, you know, what it's like to grind week in and week out. So he paces himself. He plays a very simple game. There's not a lot that can go wrong in Novak's game, and he's just, you know, everything's come together for him this year.
And he's a player that has worked very hard over the years, playing a lot of singles and doubles.
Yeah, he's an exceptional doubles player. Made the finals of the U.S. Open this year. In saying that, do I expect him to be back in this event next year? No. Great point there. And then Agassi letting Novak know early how difficult it's going to be for the man from the Czech Republic. Look at Agassi using the court, opening it up. Gets up to this one. Novak does well to stay in this point. A good defensive lob. Andre forced to just play it back safely. And misses that one, which was fairly easy, actually.
So a tough opening service game for Novak.
Agassi just in full flight here. And this is what these fans here came to see. Andre Agassi stepping into the ball. It's just, I mean, it just boggles your mind to see how Agassi does this so routinely, match after match after match at this stage of his career.
So a serve and volley from Jiri. He holds off a break point. Agassi, I describe him as one of those rhythm players, and certainly Novak in these first couple of games is giving Agassi a lot of rhythm. Seen some long points, and that kind of play, it just seems to get Agassi into a groove, and where he can groove his ground strokes.
You're right. I mean, and I think that's a perfect one of the reasons why Novak struggles against Agassi. One of the ways, as you know, Mal, you try to unsettle Agassi, either having a big serve or having a huge forehand, doing something that makes him feel a little unsure of what's going to happen. Novak is a consistent player. Novak is a predictable player. And so is Agassi, really, at this stage of his career. But he does it so much better than everybody else.
Novak not sure of the call, but you know, that's really the mark of a great player, is when everybody knows what you're going to do and they still can't handle it.
That's right. Going for just an acute angle there, Agassi. Just missing.
Now Novak with another game point. He's not wanting his service games to last this long throughout this match. It's nice when you get an easy service game.
That time Agassi flattened the ball out a little bit more. He's coaching the ball kids there too. Agassi, give me that towel quickly. He wants everything just so out there.
Yeah, he's not interested in slowing around, you know, being slow on the court. Point number 17 in this game.
Beautiful. Novak's two-hander up the line is probably his best shot off the ground. Watch the way he leans into this one. Agassi doesn't pull him wide enough. Novak able to step in and measure it.
Game point for Novak, second serve. Novak holds off some break points and ties this match at 1 game all. These players have played a few times in the past. Agassi leading 4-0 the last time this year on clay in Rome. And Patrick, you had mentioned the final of Madrid just a few weeks ago that we had here for you on ESPN2, where Novak had to pull out due to a groin injury. Agassi to serve, 1-all. In what scenario, looking at this matchup, considering the stat we just showed, 4-0, Agassi never losing a set to Novak, in what scenario does Novak have a chance to win this match?
Agassi with his 5th consecutive appearance here, longest amongst active players. I think that for Novak to win, he's got to play the match of his life, because obviously Agassi's hitting the ball well. He's not going to play poorly, Agassi, so Novak is going to have to hit a lot of those backhand down the line winners. That's a shot that can bother Agassi. It's just so compact on the baseline, Agassi. Working the point, waiting for his opening. Look at the way he puts a little extra spin on that. Brings Novak out wide. And that's just that's a safe winner. And you don't often hear that. You don't see that too often in the men's game. Of guys hit a safe winner. That one was just routine. That's because Agassi set it up. Well, how about that return?
14-13.
Novak unloading there, but still game point for Agassi. Too good. Agassi with the little drop shot. Well played, 2-1. We're on serve. And a beautiful indoor stadium they have here for 10,000 people. Agassi leading 2-1. Jiri Novak serving, love 15.
Agassi just pouncing on that net cord. So quick up to that ball. We talked about that a lot with Hewitt yesterday in his win over Costa. He quickly gets up to that to make those short balls even easier.
And for the second game in a row, some trouble on Novak's serve. But he comes up with an ace to get it to 15-30.
Novak's a good spot server. He doesn't have a great motion. He doesn't get a lot of leg into his serve. But being 6'3", he's able to hit a lot of create angles. He's got to serve very well against Agassi to have a shot. Because this is where he's going to get hurt, Novak, on this second serve, which sits right up into Agassi's strike zone.
Yeah,
he's a clinician out there, Agassi.
taking him coast to coast.
A nick here, a cut there, and then set it up for the finisher.
And it gives him 2 more break points. And there it is, Agassi on his first break point in this game gets to the break. 3 games have won. We invite you to join us once again this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, when world #1 Leighton Hewitt takes on Carlos Moya. An all-important match there. Both players 1-0, winning their opening matches yesterday. Hewitt looking to keep that #1 spot in the world. Moya looking to move up. Moya taking out Safin yesterday.
Moya's beaten Hewitt the last 3 times they've played all this year, including that final in Cincinnati on hard court.
Their overall record 2-4. Moya leading that.
The Agassi picking on that Novak forehand side as well. That's the side that will make a few more errors. Andre is going right after the weaker wing.
Amazingly, you'd never look at Agassi and see he has a, one of those huge bombing serve that's going to throw in, a bunch of aces throughout the course of a match. And typically in men's tennis, those top players, that's what you look for. Agassi holds on to serve at love. 4-1. He is on a roll right now.
Andre Agassi with a commanding lead in this first set, but he is not the oldest ever to compete in this competition. Connors at 35 played in the Masters back in New York City. So hey, Andre, you're a pumpkin compared to Jimbo Connors. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Luke. A pumpkin. I don't know if he'll take kindly to that, but he is playing well. 4-1.
I mean, the way Agassi's playing and looking now, who at 35, he may very well be in this year-end championship again. It's really incredible. Look at this. I mean, Agassi has, that gift, obviously, of taking that ball early, of seeing the ball earlier than anyone. And what he's done in the last 5 years is he's upped his training, he's upped his intensity, his dedication to match his talent. And that's why he's able to continue to do what he's doing.
Agassi, one of the best returners in the game, won 33% of his return games, only second to Hewitt on the tour. Agassi had the time, could have gone either way.
It was a good job by Novak because he basically forced that ball wide by going to cover it. And Agassi didn't want to change his mind at the last second. He could have gone cross court, but he decided to go up the line. He saw Novak cheating to cover it, and he tried to just make it too good. That's a lot of that court sense, and it comes from a lot of that doubles play from Novak, knowing the angles.
Yep. Novak, one of 5 players last year to finish in the top 40 in the world in both singles and doubles. And you had mentioned the finals of the U.S. Open in doubles.
This year, yep. With the Radek Stepanek, a doubles specialist from the Czech Republic. You know old Radek, right, Mel?
Oh, yeah. Czech Republic, right?
You got it. So that's where Agassi's uncomfortable. See how far back he was behind the baseline there. Rarely will you see Andre in that position so far back. Usually right on top of that baseline. It's the players that have that big weapon, the big shot that can push Agassi back there, that can have some success against him.
Novak holds on to the serve, 4 games to 2. There are a couple of good names in here, past champions of the year in championship.
Yeah, Sampras, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Becker a couple of times when it was in Germany. Kodacha sneaking through there in '98, won that 5-setter against Carlos Moya. Kirten in 2000 to clinch #1 for that year, and Hewitt to clinch #1 last year.
Kirten winning it in 2000 in Lisbon, the first year under the new ranking system, the champions race. Covering the line very well, Andre Agassi.
Again, setting the point up with those pinpoint groundies. Not always as comfortable at net, but normally Agassi has to play fairly routine volley, so that helps. Agassi winning this event back in 1990. He defeated Edberg in the final that year. That year played in Frankfurt.
.40 love Agassi. Surprising that with everything Agassi has done in his career, only finishing #1 in the world a single time in '99, but not so surprising if you look at who was finishing #1 all those years. Pete Sampras. Sampras finishing #1 6 consecutive years, starting in 1993. Game Agassi, he holds on to serve, 5 games to 2. 1 game away from a 1-set lead. Agassi with a commanding lead, 5 games to 2 in the first set. Tonight on NBA on ESPN, the Spurs take on the Nets at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Tim Duncan and Jason Kidd face off, and then at 9:30 Eastern time, the Kings and the Warriors on ESPN tonight. little more power off the forehand side from Novak.
Likes the ball fairly low, Novak, and around the hip to the knees he can create a little more power. He doesn't create as much up high, and that's why you're seeing Agassi hit a little more spin on some of those cross-court forehands, get the ball up a little bit. He knows Novak can't really hurt him up there.
Novak holds serve at love, his easiest serve game of the match, but now Agassi serves for the first set.
So Jan Kukl there, his coach and the coach of the Davis Cup team from the Czech Republic.
Agassi holding serve pretty comfortably throughout the day.
I'd say
His
so.
first set.
Yeah, look at those numbers.
88% first serve in. Hasn't lost a point when he had to hit a second serve.
Not a bad idea by Novak, but he was a little out of position there. When you hit the return and come in from wide, you have a lot more court to cover. And Agassi didn't have to hit a great response there.
I like the idea of what he tried to do coming in on a second serve. Just wasn't the second serve to come in on.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to come in off a serve that brings you wide, because it forces you to have to cover that much more court coming in. You're much safer coming in off a return that's down the middle of the court. Then you're already in position to cover most of the court. Oh, great play by Novak, showing his court coverage. Agassi had that point set up perfectly. Again, the defensive lob from Novak, getting him back in the point. Agassi didn't quite get to that quickly enough, and then he was scrambling.
So a couple of points in a row for Novak as Agassi serves for this first set, giving Novak 2 break points. Agassi thinking he had the ace, but you could hear the net device going off. There it is right there. Just gives off a little beep that is, you can hear in the crowd, the players can hear it, the chair umpire hears it. And Agassi double faulting on break point to give the break back to Novak. So how things have changed very quickly. Agassi was in control, 5-4 now. Welcome back, folks, to ESPN2's live coverage of the Tennis Masters Cup. First match between these two of the week. Jiri Novak breaking Agassi's serve when Agassi was serving for the first set moments ago. Agassi was having no problem on his serve prior to that game. Winners and errors. Agassi looking very good, as is Novak. But prior to that last game, all Agassi controlling that whole first set. And now Novak serving 30 love, 2 points from tying this first set at 5. Patrick, what have you seen different in the last just 5 minutes here?
I think Agassi just let up a little bit. He lost his concentration. It was so easy for him. And Novak's taking advantage. He's getting a few more first serves in. A couple games there where Agassi just sort of let Novak hold pretty easily, and that gave Novak a little more confidence on the return games.
Thumper. Well, that's not difficult. Well, this is a very difficult shot made easy from Agassi, but one of the most difficult things in tennis, serve out a match or serve out a set, even at this level. It's not easy to do. I oftentimes get the question from either club players or juniors, you know, what should I be doing when I'm serving for a match? I keep losing my serve when I'm serving for the set or the match. So it happens to Agassi also. Let's go down to Luke Jensen courtside.
Hey guys, I spoke with Jan Kuko, the coach of Jiri Novak, and he said the key to this match was to dictate to Andre Agassi. He wasn't going to win. His guy wasn't going to win if he was trying to retrieve balls. This guy's 6'2", Novak, and he doesn't move that well side to side. Agassi, as you can notice, when he has to run, he's in trouble.
Does Jiri Novak have the game to dictate to Andre Agassi? Certainly what we've seen early on, that wasn't the case.
No, he's been lucky in this sense that I think Agassi's let up. Well, since having that 5-2 lead, I think Andre relaxed for a second, thought it was going to be routine, and Novak is taking advantage. I disagree a little bit with Luke, though. I think Novak does move pretty well side to side. I think he covers the court very well. Obviously, against Agassi, you're forced to do a lot of running when he's on, but that's going to be the case for anyone. So that's an example there of Novak dictating play, attacking the second serve, forcing Agassi to hit while on the move, which Andre's not that comfortable doing. He's much better when the ball, he's the best in the world when the ball is at him. He doesn't have to move that far. He takes those quick little steps to set up. He's never been a great defensive player, Agassi. He's improved that, which helped him win the French a few years ago. It's a better second serve. See Agassi aware now that Novak is on his second serve a little bit more, so he took a little more risk on that one, got it wider.
You know, that second serve from Agassi, that might be the only ball Novak feels like he can attack. Certainly a second serve is going to be inside the service line short, and he feels like he might be able to attack it. Now Agassi, game point. Ball called good.
And so is that one. Novak taking a long look at the court there, but he recovered well. Agassi going back behind him, but Novak was waiting, stood his ground, and a relatively easy pass for Jiri.
Novak not going to say too much to the chair umpire, not one to argue. Still a game point. Well played from Novak, set up by a solid return.
He pounced on that first serve of Agassi there and had control of the point. So Agassi struggling again on serve.
That's too good.
And that was not a smart shot by Agassi at all. 5-all deuce. That was a panic shot from Agassi.
You say panicked, I say like a frustration shot. because he knows he should be out of this set. And he finds himself down a break point. How quickly things can turn around. Jiri Novak from down a break is now serving for the first set when we come back. Jiri Novak has made a conscious effort of trying to attack the second serve of Agassi. 14 winners to 12. Agassi leading there. The unforced errors, both of them are pretty low, but Novak has converted on both of his break points to serve for the first set. And remember, Agassi led 5-2 in this first set. Agassi, tremendous success rate when he leads in a set. A very good front runner. But you relax just a little bit. Novak takes advantage of a few second serves and finds himself serving for the set. And Agassi, frustrated with that line call.
Letting things bother him now, Agassi. Trying to shake it off, get his feet going. That's where Agassi's attitude has changed so much in the last 4 or 5 years, is that he gets frustrated, but he usually comes back. His focus is there. But Novak, you know, he's almost out Agassi and Agassi right now. He's mixing up his serves. He's using his serve to set up the points. He's keeping Andre on the move, and now he's got 3 set points. Hitting a lot of serves out wide. Novak to spread the court, open it up.
Jiri Novak in 5 attempts, 5 matches against Andre Agassi, finally has won a set. 7 games to 5 in his debut. Players holding a 1-0 record in this Masters Cup. And the opening match for these two players, Agassi and Novak. Novak 7-5. He's won 5 straight games.
Well, Agassi's got to take the mindset now that his trainer often says to me, Gil Reyes, who's much more than his trainer. He's almost like his brother, his father figure, is go back to work. You know, Agassi's got to go to work. He's got to bring the lunch pail, and he's got to play each point now with that same focus that he brought in the beginning of the match, which he's clearly lost in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, he's just making errors early in the points here, frustrated.
One thing you've seen from Agassi over the years, he's not a player who really adjusts his game that much. He's going to hit through his bad times. Unfortunately for him, sometimes the match will run out before he turns things around. But he's going to keep going for his shots, no doubt about that.
Time he puts a little more cover though on that backhand, and then he gets to forehand. Even that one, yeah, he's going for it, but he's putting a little more spin on that ball. A little safer swing from Agassi. It's such a fine line for him between trying to hit the ball too hard, too flat, and getting just that little safety, that little margin, getting under the ball and adjusting his swing.
There you go, Andre. You had some towel hanging from your chin.
Another good wide serve from Agassi, giving him a game point.
Left.
Tell you, his confidence now is flying. And his coach enjoying it because, as he said, he's dictating play a little bit more. And again, opening the court up for that backhand down the line.
Agassi.
Agassi with another game point. Agassi holds on to serve. Let's go down to Luke Jensen courtside. Things have changed, huh, Luke?
I'll tell you one thing, guys. The biggest thing for Novak, the stats are pretty much the same from the first set. He came back from 5-2 down in the first set to win 7-5 over Andre Agassi in the first set. But the key was the stats the same. You look at this, 13 winners to 6 unforced errors for Novak, 14 winners to 9 unforced errors for Agassi. But Novak did it the back end from 5-2 on, and he's really been hitting a high clip. Great demeanor on the court, too. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Luke. Usually a very calm demeanor for Jiri Novak. Doesn't show a lot of emotion one way or the other, whether things are going good or poorly for him. But he's got to feel very good about the way things are going right now. Leading a set.
On the run, Novak is so smooth. Takes that ball early, and a short backswing on both sides. He handles pace so well because of that. Doesn't have a big backswing on either side, and he uses pace so well from his opponent. That's really a bad miss for Agassi on a second serve when he misses it that poorly. Timing was totally off.
So on game point, he throws in a double. Still has another one to even this first set. Agassi a little more force on those two balls. Trying to push Novak behind the baseline. He'd like to stop the route right now.
There it is again.
Another one.
A two-hander up the line. That's one that Agassi's always been susceptible to. He's not as quick moving to his right, to his forehand side, and he camps out more in the backhand corner.
Novak holds on to serve. 1 game all. Second set. After being down 5-2 in the first set, Novak stormed back, winning 5 consecutive games. This is the opening match of the 2002 Tennis Masters Cup for both these players. Novak playing in his debut match. Agassi, his 12th appearance. And there's the Agassi camp. Coach Darren Cahill, Gil Reyes on the right, always in black.
Left versus.
Stringer there as well, Rowan Getsky. So worked with us in our Davis Cup team.
Patrick McEnroe and Luke Jensen courtside. I'm Malavia, Washington. You watch these players play so many times over the years, and you compete against them and practiced against them, and you can just see, at least from my perspective, just a little confident look about Novak right now. I think he feels very good about the way he's hitting the ball. And on the other hand, Agassi, he's in a very uncomfortable position. He doesn't find himself losing big leads like that very often.
He's pressing, trying to do too much too soon. And Novak is part of the reason why Agassi is doing that. He's stepping into the returns a little bit more, taking some more chances. Got Agassi flustered right now.
Flustered is the right word, Patrick. Overhitting his ground strokes, throwing in double faults. In that last game, we saw him miss-hit an easy second serve return. Double break point.
Left versus.
Good running from Novak. But he still has a break point. Looks very composed right now.
Well, he knows that Agassi's feeling a little uncomfortable over there, so he's doing everything he can to make him hit that one more shot. That was a tough overhead, too.
Agassi tried that a couple of games ago, and the result is the same. Novak, 7-5 and 2-1. He is in control of this match. Jiri Novak serving 2-1. Welcome back to our live coverage from Shanghai, China. Agassi has certainly been playing a little sloppier the last 30 minutes or so than he did early in the match, and sometimes the tendency is, if you're Jiri Novak, is to get a little passive and just let your opponent continue to make mistakes. He wasn't passive on that forehand, though, which is a good thing.
Again, Agassi struggling going to that forehand side from the two-hander from Novak up the line. It's just as good as a winner, that play right there.
And we keep talking about that race for #1. Leighton Hewitt currently has the #1 spot and won his opening match yesterday. And Andre Agassi losing now is not helping his chances to overtake him. And Novak holds on to serve, and we asked him what he thought about playing in his first Shanghai event against Andre Agassi.
You know, I think that every match is very important, you know, and I think that it's good for me that I'm starting with Andre Agassi, you know, because nobody cannot expect me to win, and I can just play without the pressure, and I just, you know, to leave on the court, and everything. I hope that is going fine, and then against the Federer and Federer, let's say if I want to qualify from the group, I have to win. So it's pretty good that I'm starting with Agassi.
That's a very interesting approach, because he had never won a set on Agassi, but he says it's a good thing that he started against him.
Yeah, and obviously he is playing with not too much pressure. He's got a decent record against both Ferrero and Federer, so he knows those are matches he can win. So in a way, sort of looking at this match as a little bit of a bonus, and that's got to be part of the reason why he's playing as well as he is. And obviously Andre's totally flustered at this point, throwing in another double, and the wheels have fallen off for Agassi, who was just dominating the first 7 games of this match.
Get back. Get back.
And we've been talking about Andre Agassi and what he would need to do if he were to overtake Leighton Hewitt, providing he loses this match. And you take another look at that down the line backhand, and you've mentioned it, Agassi not moving well to that side. Provided Agassi loses this match, he would have to go on and win the title, and Hewitt would have to lose in the semifinals or worse for Agassi to finish #1. And Agassi just continuing to hit away at his shots regardless of the errors. And now Novak, 2 more break points.
Tell you, Agassi got real lucky there, because he stopped playing after that ball on the baseline, which he thought was out, and he wasn't even going to move to that next shot. Luckily for him, Novak missed it.
And I think Novak maybe saw him stop and tried to go for the winner down the line. So Agassi saves a couple of break points.
Novak just trying to get the ball deep and let Agassi make the error, but not deep enough there.
See, that's kind of what I had mentioned a few moments ago. I don't think Novak wants to get passive and just play and to stay in the point. Hoping Agassi just continues to hit errors. Playing a little more aggressively in that point, coming up with the winner.
Good footwork here from Novak. Look at the way he gets around this ball. Give himself plenty of room to find that angle inside out.
Looks like Agassi was serving and volleying on that first serve. Just when you thought you had things figured out and you thought for sure Agassi would win his opening match, look at the score. Jiri Novak. PM Eastern time. All tonight on ESPN. Here on ESPN2, Jiri Novak serving in control. A set in 4-1 in his debut match of the Masters Cup over Andre Agassi. 15-love.
Quite a run here. I mean, 9 out of 10 games to Novak. I mean, Agassi just completely out of it.
And I keep mentioning the fact that this is his debut match because this is a big deal. Top 8 players in the world here in Shanghai, and he is here for the first time at the age of 27, having by far his best year of his career. And here he is playing the world #2 and about to beat him.
Again, no footwork there from Agassi, just letting that ball get on top of him on that second serve. And he's probably starting to think about his next match tomorrow.
Game Novak. His coach already getting a little pat on the back. 5-1. Not a whole lot of emotion from Novak at all in this match.
No, you never see that from Jiri. He's pretty straightforward in his game and his demeanor. Very, very nice guy. Very well-liked guy on the tour. Soft-spoken. Always has a smile when you see him in the locker room and the players' lounge. There it is again. How many backhands up the line have we seen today? And Agassi not even attempting to move for this one. Look at Agassi. Watch this. Just totally flat-footed over there. Again, Agassi just so slow to react. It was a good return up the line, but Agassi should have been there. Keep that ball in play.
all. 30 all. 2 points from the match for Novak. And now match point. So Novak coming into this event not having won a tournament all year long, but brings with him 52 match wins. That's a match point against Agassi, who has more tournament wins this year than any player. And there it is. There's a reaction from Jiri Novak. Because for the first time ever, he has taken out Andre Agassi. And Patrick, certainly not the tennis, especially in the last hour of this match, that Andre Agassi would have liked to play, but heavy credit goes to Jiri Novak. Very solid performance today.
You know, as I said during the match, he really out-Agassi'd Agassi. He took the ball early. He served well. He kept Agassi having to react to what he was doing, especially on the return. And quite honestly, Andre just went away. But the good news for Andre is that he has 2 more matches, and he could very easily qualify for the semifinals if he wins those last 2. So disappointing for Andre, but he's certainly still in with a real shot to get to the semifinals here.
So Andre Agassi going down in his first match to Jiri Novak, 7-5 and 6-1. Sheer happiness.